Hi, how are you? Jess Kelly, Newstalk's technology correspondent and host of Tech Talk here. Back to answer more of your technology questions. If you do have any, you can either comment below or you can email techtalk@newstalk.com. Nessa, shall we begin?
We shall. So the first question comes in from Niall. So Jess, my radio reception is very bad where I live, so I have to use my Apple iPad as a radio. Could you recommend a good digital radio or a cheap iPad, as I'm afraid I'll damage my existing iPad through overuse?
So the first thing I would say is that I would be amazed if listening to the radio would damage your iPad, because to listen to the radio you're just streaming, you're not downloading huge files or anything like that. It's not a very strenuous process, so you should be okay. But if you wanted to get an external device, you could look at something like the Roberts radios. They're incredible. Or another option is you could buy a very cheap smartphone and stream it, but as I said, my gut would say that it's not going to do any big damage to your iPad.
Okay, so this one comes in from Jen. So Jess, what do you think of an iPhone 7 32 gigabytes? I currently have an iPhone SE, and would I be doing the right thing if I was to update to that?
Very interestingly, we've had two questions into the Pat Kenny show this morning about iPhone 7 issues relating to the speaker. And I was doing a bit of research into this just a few minutes ago, and it turns out that Apple, according to macrumors.com, they had an internal memo that said that a software update, so iOS 11.3, caused issues with iPhone 7 relating to the speaker. So we've had a whole host of people getting in touch saying, oh yeah, I actually had a problem as well. So I would personally avoid the iPhone 7 at this moment in time. If you do go down the iPhone 7 route, make sure that you get the warranty. Buy from a premium Apple retailer like CompUB or Harvey Norman, the Love Tech department, just so that you have the backup if something was to go wrong. If you want to stick with iPhone, maybe leap the 7 and go to the 8 if your budget can stretch it. If not, maybe consider an Android phone, something like the Huawei P20 or the P30 Pro. Again, both have come down in price considerably over the last wee while, and I imagine would be in around the same price as an iPhone 7.
Great, so this next one is from Eileen. So Jess, can you recommend the best satnav for over 65s and where to purchase it?
So in terms of satnavs, I don't drive, and that is one of my many flaws as a human being. So I don't have personal experience of reviewing them and so on. However, Garmin are sort of leaders in this space. Also, TomTom are quite good, but what I recommend you do is going into somewhere like Halfords and speak to one of their experts. They have people who know this sort of stuff inside out, upside down and backwards. So I would look at Garmin, TomTom, and then go to Halfords.
Okay, so this comes in from Brian. So in terms of a phone upgrade, should I go for a Huawei Y6, a P20 Pro, or a P Smart 2019, or an iPhone 8?
Oh, P20 Pro. The Huawei P20 Pro is still one of the best devices I have reviewed in the 8 years or so that I've been talking about technology. It's one of those devices that just ticks pretty much every box. I really like using it. I still go back to it every now and then. The P30 Pro came out a few weeks ago, and I've been using that over the weekend again, and it's a great phone. That P lineup is incredible. So in terms of battery life, in terms of camera, in terms of usability, in terms of the look of it, the screen of it, it sort of outranks every phone on your list there.
Okay, so this is from Thomas. So Jess, can you recommend a Bluetooth speaker for my phone?
This is a good question, and it depends on how much you want to spend. So there's a teeny tiny little speaker, like it's about that size, and it's the Bluetooth Jam speaker from Harvey Norman. Last time I checked, it was around $29.90. Now it's only teeny tiny, but it does fill the living space in my one bedroom apartment quite well. If you want to go one level up from that, or maybe 3 levels up from that, you could look at something from Bang & Olufsen. They are a premium brand, so you will pay a little bit more, but the quality would be incredible. I'm trying to think, do you know what actually is an excellent recommendation, if I do say so myself? The Logitech UE Boom. So this is a speaker that kind of looks like a tennis ball can. Nice modern reference there, but it has a speaker the whole way around it, so it projects the sound out. I think they're around €130. I got one from my mum and dad a few years ago. This was like 2 generations ago, and they still have it, and the sound quality is unreal. It pairs to every device. and you can also take your calls through it as well, so you don't have to like unsync or unpair your phone from Bluetooth to take a call. You can just do it through the speaker. So that's what I recommend.
Okay, so Serena wants to know, what's your take on 5G?
My take on 5G is that in theory it's going to be amazing, because it will kick things on in terms of the next level of connectivity. So you know the way in our homes now we have more connected devices. So like in my apartment, my light bulbs are connected to my phone, and my TV is connected to my phone and to my smart speaker, and everything is connected and talks to each other, and it's beautiful. 5G is going to take things up a gear in that everything around us is going to be connected. For driverless cars to become a reality, you need a consistent connection, so that if you're driving from here in Dublin to Ballina, your internet connection is not going to cut out and then suddenly your car is going to stop, because it will need connectivity. So it's going to be a vital piece of infrastructure. I don't know that it's going to be, in fact I know that it's not going to be the answer to Ireland's sort of broadband problems. It's not going to be the answer or a replacement for the National Broadband Plan. We still need the National Broadband Plan, but it will be a most welcome development when it finally arrives. We are all going to have to buy new phones though, for if you want 5G connectivity. Any phone that you have at this moment in time will not work on the 5G spectrum, because it's a piece of technology that has to get put into the phone. It's not that something that can be just done on a software update. So it's going to be amazing, but it'll be a little while yet.
Okay, forgive my pronunciation of
Oh,
this
go
now.
on.
So William wants to know, can you ask your opinion on the, okay, I'm just going to spell it, Xiaomi.
Xiaomi.
Yeah, Poco phone.
I have not reviewed the Xiaomi Poco phone. I have reviewed 2 Xiaomi phones so far, and I've been very, very impressed by them. So let me know which one the Poco phone. Hang on there now, and you asked me another question. I'm going to read up about it.
Alright, okay. So this comes in from Mary. So, hi Jess, I have lots of photos on my phone that I would like to save on a USB. I've already done this with a SanDisk USB, but the problem is trying to look at them or choosing a photo to print. It's really difficult, and the photos don't appear in the albums I've created. Is there anything out there to make photos more easily accessible?
Yes, 100%. What you should do is move to the cloud. So I don't know where in the country you are based and if you have good internet connectivity, but what I would suggest you do is use something like Dropbox or Google Photos or Microsoft's OneDrive. So this is a cloud-based service that you can put things in albums and in folders, and then if you want to go and print them somewhere, you just take out your phone, open your Dropbox, and you can see all your photographs. It's a much better way of doing things. I also prefer having cloud-based rather than external hard drives or USB keys, just because this is something that I learned the hard way. I had a lot of stuff from an old computer on an external hard drive, and this is going back so far that the software is not compatible with my new computer, so I can't actually access those files. I'm sure I could if I put a lot of effort into it, but it's not as seamless as it should be. So for a simple, cost-effective solution that you can access anywhere, I would move to the cloud.
Okay.
Just on the Xiaomi phone, very briefly, so this is, I'm just literally scanning it as I'm talking to you now. So the Poco phone F1 is a €400 phone, and it does look to be pretty impressive. So 6.18 inch screen, 12 megapixel camera, 8 gigs of RAM, 4000 milliamp battery. As I said, I haven't reviewed it, so I can't give an honest opinion, but looking at the spec sheet here now, it looks pretty good. The cameras on it look great. I can't really sort of recommend it unless I've reviewed it, but on paper it looks good.
Okay, so Sean says, hi Jess, when are Huawei releasing Android 9.0 and MIUI, is it? MIUI on the Mate 20 Lite?
I don't know is the answer. The software timelines, it's a pain in the face, and I know it's a pain in the face. I will get onto them after this, and I will let you know, and I can tweet it out, and we can retweet it then from the Newstalk Twitter account, so keep an eye on that.
Okay, this could be similar enough now. This is from Dennis. So is the EMU 9.1 being rolled out for the P30 Lite, and if so, when?
I imagine it will be, but I don't know for sure. So as I said, I'll get on to Huawei after this, and I will find out.
Okay, so this comes from Tracy. So I'm due a phone upgrade, and I'm changing from an iPhone and looking at the P30 or a Samsung 10. Any reason to pick one over the other?
Very, very interesting. So I spent my entire weekend, no word of a lie, playing with both the Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus and the Huawei P30 Pro. They are both gorgeous phones, and I was trying to do that thing of sitting them side by side and going, if I could only have one, which one would I go for and why? Personally speaking, and I have reviewed phones for the last 8 years or so, I just like the Samsung interface. Everything about it just is, it's very customizable. I'm very used to it, and it is my personal preference when it comes to a phone brand. However, the Huawei P30 Pro is incredible. The camera on it is stunning. The screen, I would also say, and this might be controversial, but I would actually say the screen is better on the P30 Pro than on the Samsung. Battery life, again, I would feel the Huawei is better. For some reason, I don't know why, I just can't seem to get a full day out of a Samsung phone, whether it is this or the Note. It's quite frustrating. And the Huawei I was using before the P30 Pro, the Mate 20 Pro, had an incredible battery. Like, you get through a full day without a single charge, which is pretty amazing. So it is a coin toss. What I'd recommend you do, if you can, is go into a shop and unlock both of the phones. Try and stand side by side and unlock them and see which one you feel most comfortable with. It's a very basic thing to say, but this is a device you're going to be using a lot. They're expensive. If you're on a contract, it's a significant commitment. So whether you like using it or not does play a massive part. So good luck.
Okay, so hi Jess, is there a huge difference between the Huawei P30 and the Mate Pro to justify price?
So the answer is no. So the Mate range is, think of it, I don't know if you're aware of the Samsung lineup, but think of the Samsung Note range and then the Samsung S range. So the Note range is kind of very focused on business consumers and so on, whereas the S range is sort of for everybody, the people who love technology and the people whose main goal with the phone is to have entertainment and productivity rather than productivity and entertainment, which is the case of the Note. I really liked the Huawei Mate 20 Pro. It's too many names and numbers. The Mate 20 Pro I really liked. That being said, I am loving the P30 Pro. If you were going to get one or the other, I would go with the P30 Pro, just because it's the newer phone. It's got the latest bits and pieces, and it's very cool and fun to use.
Okay, so William wants to know, could dash cam installations by third parties invalidate new car warranties?
That's a very good question. The honest answer is I don't know, and I would hate to comment on something that I don't know about because it could end up costing you money. So get on to your insurer and ask the question.
Okay, so I'm thinking of buying a smart TV. They all seem around the same price. Is there a particular brand that's best to go for?
I bought a TV about 18 months ago, and I tried my best to do as much research as humanly possible. I even went to briefings. Like, I used my position as a tech correspondent, and I begged the brands to give me briefings so that I could tell one TV from another. And the honest answer is I still struggle with it. I ended up buying an LG TV because it was a smart TV, 4K, which were two things that I wanted, HDR. Like, it ticked all the boxes in terms of spec. I wasn't really that pushed on the interface, and it can get very specific and very nerdy. So if you are looking at something in and around the €500 mark, I would go for LG or Samsung. If you're going for beyond that, and if you're making a significant investment, I would go for Samsung. My dream TV, if I won the lotto in the morning, would be one of the Samsung curved QLED TVs, just because they look unreal. I had one for review for about 3 weeks last year, and I very much contemplated just running away with it because it's incredible. But they're super expensive. So again, I'm not the most informed person in the world when it comes to this. One thing to note is that standing in the shop and looking at them all is not very helpful, because they are all set to be, there's like a shop setting or something like that, so they're all on the best mode possible, and it will look different when it's in your home. So try and do as much research as you can online, and ask the people in store. My local store is Harvey Norman in Carrick Mines. I go up there all the time and ask them really annoying questions, but they are trained by all of the brands to know the answers, so that's one option for you.
Okay, so the final question is, my phone is meant to be 4G, but it's always displaying as 3G. Why is this?
Okay, depending on the phone you have and where you are, if you go into the settings on your phone and if you go into network, there should be three options. So there should be 2G, 3G, 4G, and then LTE. and if you go to LTE, that's the 4G, and it'll have the full spectrum basically, so that if 4G isn't available, it'll go to 3G and so on. Sometimes phones can just default to the 2G, 3G mode, which is really annoying, so go in and see if the LTE box is ticked, and that should sort the issue for you. If not, it could be that there's no 4G available where you are. But try the settings thing first, and then if not, email techtalk@newstalk.com and we can check it out. That's it. Okay, we will be back next Tuesday for more questions. But in the meantime, Tech Talk will be available as a podcast first on Friday from noon, or you can tune in Sunday at 6.